Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Mondays Down South. The weekly, trio is back. I think I am riding high as a 3-0, fan of teams. I don't think Zach is riding very high after his weekend going to a Carolina game, watching his Falcons get trounced 30-0. And I think Evan is riding high because he just had his backup quarterback come in and they straight up beat down the Raiders. So, how are you feeling, gentlemen? Give me a little update on life, and then we'll get into our exercise for the day.
Good, man. Pretty quiet. Just watched some good ball, but Commanders got to win. The entire team is injured, but they're back on the winning track. And I'll shout out the Dukes as well, Zach. I think the case for best football team in Virginia is officially over. The Dukes have now won the most recent matchup with every other Virginia school, and they're on like a 20-game winning streak against teams in state. So I think it might be over, but we'll see about next year. But finally got some revenge on Liberty.
Coach.
Yeah.
Depends on who we get as a coach, because we from a recruiting perspective, we're always going to own Virginia in terms of UVA, JMU, Old Dominion, Liberty, etc.
Not so sure about that.
Why y'all
Someone's going to JMU over Virginia Tech.
We'll start winning some football games, and I don't know.
I think
we'll start with one next year in Lane Stadium.
While y'all beef, I'm going to give a quick shout out to Phil Smay, Jody Smay, Sean McCoy, and the kiddos. I got to watch the games with them on Sunday, and Phil is one of our biggest fans. He tunes into the episodes all the time, so we're going to have to get him on one of these days to talk about his birds. But I just wanted to give him a shout out because when he watches this week, I want him to know that I'm thinking of him. So let's move on with that. I look forward to hearing more about the Virginia beef as the weeks progress, though, because who knows? Maybe they'll try to hire your coach, Evan. Who knows what's going to happen? So maybe they'll try to hire my coach. I don't know. It could be anything. So we'll see what happens. But I guess it's probably a good time to jump into our teaser this week. We're finally doing a blind rankings, guys. I've been wanting to do this forever. The amount of hours I've spent on social media watching people do blind rankings and yelling at my screen about how bad their choices are. It'll be very fun for us to do this, and I look forward to any fans that are watching and listening to go criticize our rankings, and I'm sure the three of us will have some vehement arguments. Also want to give a quick shout out to Evan, who managed to use AI and put this together. So nicely done, Evan. If you are ready, you can display your screen and we'll get right into it.
Sweet, yeah. No thanks need to come my way. We can thank our robot overlords that will take us over in a few years, but we'll see how they do.
I appreciate it while we have it. Quick breakdown for people, for anyone who hasn't watched segments like this. The way it's going to work is we're going to have a top 8 to 10, I think is what we're doing. And we're going to have a blind quarterback come up, essentially ChatGPT or whichever chat feature we're using for AI is going to give us an option for another quarterback. And we're going to have to decide without knowing who comes next where we're going to put them on our list. And there's a science to this because you might see someone you think is not great come up, and there is always the possibility of someone not as good coming up. So we'll have to take that approach. And the one other thing I'll say is for people who are tuning in on YouTube, there will be a situation where Evan is going to have to probably skip a player if, unfortunately, the AI hasn't caught up and they start giving us bench guys or something like that. So just stay tuned for that. And with that in mind, Evan, whenever you're ready.
All right. Let's see. Bear with me trying to get the sizing. All right. So we'll start it off with the first quarterback. Oh, no. It's blipping away on us.
All good. We can edit this.
Looks like Jordan Love.
Starting with Jordan Love, we have 8 spots to place him in. Okay.
So this might lead into a good take I might have later, but he's very much more middle of the pack for me than people are talking about right now, having him closer to that top 10, top 8 range. So I would be looking at the 4 or 5 number just to get us going on a first recommendation.
Go ahead, Zach.
I disagree. I think it's a recency bias with Cleveland sneaking out a win, late last week. But I think that Jordan Love is an incredible player. He gets it done with, his accuracy, throwing to multiple receivers, and then also getting his yardage on the ground. Give me I would say 3. 3 would be a good space for him in terms of this 8.
I'll help break the tie here, and I'll say 4 only because it's not because I don't love Jordan Love. It's well documented that I do. But I think that in this exercise, you could get a lot of really good quarterbacks or a lot of really bad quarterbacks. We don't know what's coming next, so I'd rather start at 4 and then see what happens after that. So if Evan's saying 4 or 5, Zach's saying 3, let's go with 4.
I don't know where it takes me, but I'm hitting next.
All good.
Nice.
All right, Jalen Hurts. See, there you go. We definitely have to put Jalen Hurts higher than Jordan Love.
We have to, yeah.
We can all agree on that, right?
I'm just gonna be straightforward with this. I can't go higher than 3 because there's like at least 4 guys that might come up that I would put higher than him, and I want to leave those spots open because the last thing I want to do is have Josh Allen end up in the bottom half of our list. So that's my.
I'd say 3.
I'm fine with 3. I feel like he's going to end up being 2 as the best spot for him, but 3 to be conservative with what else might come from Copilot here.
Sweet. You can just go to next since we know where we're at. Okay, let's do it.
Trevor Lawrence. So this, I feel like we have to go to.
Bottom 3, right?
Yeah, definitely bottom 3. 6 or 7.
I would say 7 at this point. I mean, he's been in the league for 5 years. People have been talking about how he's going to take this next revolutionary turn every year. It hasn't happened. And he's got 4 touchdowns and 4 interceptions this year. And he's throwing 50, I think it's like 54 or 55% pass completion rate, like with, Travis Hunter as his failsafe, like as a slot guy right down the middle of the field. And he's still not completing 60% of his passes. 4 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. I think 7.
I'm really glad you said that, Zach, because for example, and this is recency bias, but think of Daniel Jones, for example. The amount of crap Daniel Jones has gotten in his career for having, a rough career, but he's also had one good year where he's won a playoff game. And that's the exact same thing Trevor Lawrence has done. But for some reason, I guess because he was touted as, the next Andrew Luck and was a number 1 overall pick, people give him more grace. But the reality is, at some point, he needs to start, be given the same kind of criticism that people like Jones have. So for that reason, I think 7 is a good choice too. I think there will be people that we probably have lower, but I don't have a lot of people that I wouldn't have higher. Put it that way.
Are we saying 7? I can do 7. I was gonna say 6, but I think 7's good. All right. Okay. Joe Burrow, currently injured, but
what do you think? You guys want to go with him as one of the options with him being hurt, or do we skip it? I kind of think we go with it. It's recent enough that he's played.
I'm down to go with it.
Yeah.
This is going to be a fun debate for 1 or 2 guys.
It's 2 for me. It's 2 for me. It's so I feel like Copilot's going to give us one of the top dogs.
You think so?
I think so.
I think I'm with you guys. Then let's go 2. This seems easy.
Zach?
You got to leave the top dogs.
Yep, 2.
Ooh! We made a mistake.
You made a mistake, bro.
I don't think we did.
Oh, that's a crazy take, Zach.
I think he's solid at 5. If you even look at the athletic power rankings, I mean, he's not a top 5 quarterback. When you look at his entire career, he's playing like one right now. I mean, he's playing incredible. But when you really look at the grand scheme of things, I think 5 is the perfect fit for Herbert.
I think Herbert I would definitively have over Jordan Love because if you talk about career comparisons, yes, Jordan Love's had a little bit more playoff success, but albeit at the time in a less impressive conference. The thing that I want to give Justin Herbert credit for is his peak has been as an individual performance. I'm not saying as a team performance. His peak has been higher than even Jalen Hurts in the regular season where he's had like a 5,000-yard, 40 touchdown season. And the last 2 years, specifically this one, you're seeing him finally with good coaching and a competent team around him beyond, he had good receivers, but never quite the run game and defense he has. I feel very strongly that Justin Herbert, I said it last week, I think he could win the MVP this year. So I confidently would have him over Jordan Love, but that spot is not available and I can't put him at 1. So I got to go with 5. What else can we do?
Yeah, he's absolutely above Jordan Love. Him and Hurts, I think, because shameless plug, do quarterback rankings every week, although I haven't really been releasing them. Him and Hurts to me are always kind of the up for grabs spot debate, just because like how much do you value winning? Because like you said, Herbert's shown a higher ceiling, does more for his team on most occasions, not as much last year, but he kind of chokes in the big games and the big moments and has never won a playoff game. I don't believe so. That's kind of the argument. Do you have Hurts or Herbert higher? But in this occasion, it does not matter because we don't really have a choice. I actually think he's starting to push Burrow for his spot too. But I think we have to put him for 5, more so because I think Joe is maybe a little overrated at this point. But we don't have to dive down.
What gives you any reason that Joe Burrow is overrated?
So his durability, it's like, I get we can blame it on the line the whole time, and it is terrible, but there are so many quarterbacks in this league that get just pummeled over and over. Look at Matthew Stafford's career. He gets destroyed on a weekly basis for the most part, and he never misses any games. I just don't think Joe Burrow is that durable, and every time he gets hit, he seems to get injured, which I think has to knock him down. And even then, the last couple of years, again, I get it, bad line, horrible defense, but he still hasn't really been able to lead his team to the playoffs. Which a lot of quarterbacks, kind of can have nothing around them and be able to do that. I know he's been to a Super Bowl before. I get it, but I think, he's still one of the elite quarterbacks in the game. But I think there's more of a conversation for guys like Herbert, Jalen Hurts.
I gotta definitively say, and I'm glad we're talking about this because the point of doing this is so that we can talk about quarterbacks a little bit. I have to, at least for now, definitively say that Joe Burrow is definitely right after the Mahomes, Allen, Jackson tier for me, and I think he's on his own right now. I'm not saying there isn't a world where Herbert and Hurts could catch that, but my thing with Burrow is, yes, it's been a few years, but he had an MVP level year last year in terms of what his production was, and I really don't think there's much else you could do when you throw for 5,000 yards and 40 touchdowns that are extremely efficient and aren't turning the ball over. There's not, with a terrible offensive line, there's not much else you can do. And then the other thing is, I know it's been a few years, but people forget, not only did he beat Mahomes in the AFC Championship, which he's one of 2 players in the NFL to have ever beaten Mahomes in the playoffs. So, and he's the only one in the AFC to beat Mahomes in the playoffs and go to a Super Bowl, which, by the way, Justin Herbert and Lamar Jackson, or not Justin Herbert, Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson have never gone to the Super Bowl, and they've never beaten Mahomes in the playoffs. So he has that. And then the other thing is, he went to Buffalo and beat Josh Allen in his own house. I think it was either 2 or 3 years ago in the playoffs as well. So I think Joe has that clutch factor, almost like how Baker's playing right now in the regular season. He has that ability where it's the game's on the line. If he has a competent team around him, he's shown on multiple occasions he can do that, which is why I can't knock him yet. But people can catch up. I'm not going to take that away.
Yeah, I almost think it's people just assume it's a top 4 tier. Now, obviously, maybe there's sub tiers within that, and then kind of the next guys. I almost think he's more with Herbert and Hurts now than the top 2. Now, I'd probably still have him at 4, but I think it's more of the top 3, and then he's in the next 3, I would argue.
It just depends on what you value, I think. I think as an individual, if I'm starting, the conversation for me is if I'm starting a team, he's definitively top 4 for me. I'm not picking Hurts or Herbert over him.
Herbert, man. Herbert's going to push him. Herbert's going to push him.
I love Herbert. I pick Herbert 5th, but I'm taking Herbert.
If Herbert can win a playoff game or 2 this year, I think that conversation gets really, really tight.
I agree. 100%.
All right. I don't think we're going to do Deshaun Watson.
I don't even want to waste time on that, so let's keep going.
Co-pilot, not your best co-pilot. Is this Geno? Geno Smith with a green heart. Now this is
a green heart.
This is good. We get off of the top guys. 6 for me is a layup here, based on the board.
No question, 6. He's definitely better than Trevor Lawrence. Not quite close to the Justin Herbert tier yet for me, but he's still very good. A good veteran quarterback.
Yeah,
now,
I completely
if
agree.
you wanted to leave space, you could. I think there's an argument that the smart thing to do would be to put him at 8 just to leave space for some better guys. But I think in terms of how it is now, I think he slots perfectly into 6.
Yeah, he's 6.
It's a good argument, though, Evan. You got to play the game a little bit before you hit enter. Oh, you did it. Okay.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's okay.
No, that was the right decision. We can't rank him 8 because we don't know who the next person is.
Well, that's the game, Zach. That's the game.
It's blind rankings. You gotta, because of now we get someone who's definitively better, but we can't put him at 1. We got to put him at 8.
I feel confident. See, I'm on the other side of the fence. I feel confident that Gino's going to be better than one of these next guys.
Yeah.
Gino's good. Gino's good.
I like it, Zach.
I think Zach's right here. Let's see.
We need a big time name here. Come on, buddy.
What are you doing, Copilot?
Copilot
broke.
Well, either way, Patrick Mahomes would have been number one.
Yeah, do another name. So Patrick Mahomes would have been on one. So who's the final quarterback?
Hey, guys, that was okay. Let's just put Patrick Mahomes in for number one though, because that was
we went back.
Okay.
We should no, but Evan, we should assign Patrick though, because we already got him.
Well, all right, yeah. But Copilot is confused. Mahomes is 1, and let's see who we have to put at 8.
Who's our 8? Come on, Copilot. Give me a trash quarterback. Give me Penix.
You got to go up to number 1, Evan.
Oh, did I not?
No.
Who was it?
It was
Josh Allen.
Oh, Copilot.
I can't believe they did us dirty like that. They saved Pat Mahomes and Josh Allen for the last 2. No, like nobody would be that like mean about this guy.
Well, so we should have put Gino at 8 and Josh Allen would have been 6. But all right, Copilot only gave us good quarterbacks. That's unfortunate, but.
Well, you couldn't. Well, I don't say that. They gave you Trevor Lawrence, which I don't think is like some amazing.
Gino
was the conversation. I'm upset though because if you watch a lot of these rankings, like if it's not AI and it's like human driven, usually they'll give you like one great one at the end. For them to save the 2 best quarterbacks, or at least 2 of the top 3 best quarterbacks, for the very end of the list is hilarious. But to finish up the exercise, since we had to run that last 2 really quickly, if the conversation came up where you only had one spot for the 2 of them, who you putting at 1 right now? That's the debate that is being had a lot nowadays, because obviously accolades wise and in terms of what he's accomplished, Mahomes is definitively competing for, the GOAT conversation around that trajectory. But Josh Allen this year has been nothing but phenomenal. And as much as I'm a Mahomes guy, I don't want to disrespect Josh by at least not giving him his due for being as great as he is. So how are you guys currently feeling about that? Because that's a good topic of conversation.
I'll respond to that question with a challenge to you, Cy. You've always been a Peyton Manning guy, right? A Peyton Manning over a Tom Brady guy. But Tom Brady was infamously known for having all the Super Bowls. You should be a Josh Allen guy. And I'm just going to tell you guys right here, right now, Josh Allen is better than Patrick Mahomes. He has been for a couple seasons too, by the way. And, Cy, I feel like this is a great opportunity for you to shake off the cobwebs and realize, hey, you support historically the Peyton Mannings of the world, the ones who have incredible leadership skills. They are winners. Sometimes they fall short, more likely to another team, aka when Peyton Manning kind of fell short to Tom Brady during Tom Brady's era. But Peyton Manning, I still think, was a better quarterback than Tom Brady. I don't know if you can. Brady's got 7 Super Bowls, right? So, and he's done it with multiple teams. Well, I guess Peyton Manning has as well, but he's just won less Super Bowls. But here's the overarching point that I'm getting at. Peyton Manning is synonymous to this example as Josh Allen, whereas Brady and Patrick Mahomes have more of the connection. But if you look at every offensive stat and who's carrying the team more, you could certainly point that direction towards Josh Allen and Peyton Manning back in the day. Whereas, Cy, I think the challenge is you tend to be a Chiefs truther and you really, really like Patrick Mahomes. But I think it's time for you to churn the tide and support the modern day Peyton Manning, which is Josh Allen.
I'm glad you brought this up, Zach, because what's funny is when I'm watching these people's conversations about, Mahomes versus Allen in media, or even Jackson, if you want to include Jackson in that tier as well. The part that I do agree with you is that on any given year, one quarterback can be better than the other, right? Like if we're having this debate holistically, I think most people would agree that Mahomes is better overall for his career. But in terms of present day, like if you try to argue with me that Josh Allen is better overall for his career, then I don't even want to have that conversation, because that would just be absurd to me. But if you want to argue that more in recently Josh Allen is better, that's a fair argument by his production in the regular season. But let me make one thing clear. You brought up the Peyton Manning conversation. I'm really glad you framed that, because as someone who is a diehard Peyton Manning fan, do I think there was a period in time where Peyton Manning was better than Tom Brady? Yes. But now if you ask me who the GOAT is, at least prior to my love for Patrick Mahomes, my answer would be Tom Brady. And I say that begrudgingly because I'm a Peyton fan, right? So that's a very painful thing for me to say. But I will actively admit that Tom Brady was a better overall player throughout the course of his career because he won. If I was to have that conversation with you in present day when those two were playing, I would not tell you Peyton Manning was better than Tom Brady unless it was a year where Peyton actually won an MVP and beats Tom Brady in the playoffs, which he's done. That's my point. So the times where I've argued Peyton is better, he's actually won playoff games against Tom Brady. He's actually won a Super Bowl, and he's actually made AFC championships on many years and many occasions. Josh Allen has yet to beat Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs. Josh Allen has yet to go to a Super Bowl. And the point that I don't like is, yes, Josh does more in the regular season and has put up more numbers in the regular season, but why is it that last year and the year before, where you could easily argue the Bills team was just as good, if not better than the Chiefs, they weren't able to beat the Chiefs? It's because Mahomes turns up when he needs to turn up. Right now, the regular season for the Chiefs, maybe not this year, but the past couple of years, the regular season for them was just like, let me just slowly figure things out and just like it's a wash because we're going to make the playoffs and that's where we'll show up. So that's always going to be my argument for why I think Mahomes is better. The day Allen beats him and goes to a Super Bowl, I will admit for that year, Josh Allen was a better quarterback. But until that happens, I can't just go off regular season stats and say, hey, you're better, because it takes away the fact that the time that's if the playing field is even and Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, and Patrick Mahomes make the playoffs every single year, I don't care about your regular season numbers because Joe Burrow had better regular season numbers than all of them. It wasn't in the playoffs. What I care about is what you do when you already make the playoffs, because you're already making it every year no matter what. So I'll leave it at that. My weekly Patrick Mahomes rant has happened, but I'm glad you teed up the Peyton thing because I've debated that in my mind so many times, and you allowed me the platform to speak it. So I appreciate you.
It's a great rebuttal. Great rebuttal. I have no further questions. It makes a lot of sense.
I haven't quite been able to put Mahomes over Josh as much as I want to, because I think he just does so much more statistically and for his team throughout the regular season. I'm not quite there. Maybe this is the year that I, have some guts and put Josh over Mahomes in the quarterback rankings.
Wait, did you mean you haven't been able to put Allen over Mahomes?
Yeah.
Oh, you said Mahomes over Allen. That's why I was.
So I still have. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I still have Mahomes over Allen for most of the reasons Cy mentioned. That when it's so lopsided in the playoffs, that's the problem. It was almost like Sinner Alcaraz for a while. It was like, how could you say Sinner was better when Alcaraz beats him every single time in a Grand Slam, and then now Sinner's beat him a few times and it evens it up. And it's until Josh beats him. If he beats him once in the playoffs, I think that'll be enough for me to put him over. And with how much more he does in the regular season, he hasn't beaten him a single time in the playoffs. So it's just such a lopsided thing. But Zach, I think we're getting closer on Cy because I broached a similar conversation a couple of weeks ago, and he wasn't even really having it as a discussion. So now I feel like he's coming up. He's coming back to us a little bit.
No, that's fair. But the thing is, I gotta be a objective sports fan, right? And like at least I try to be as much as I have my Mahomes bias. Because actually, I feel like more often than not, I'm arguing for Mahomes, because the majority of people want to argue against because they're tired of him winning, which is similar to the Brady effect, right? The point that I'm trying to make though is the reason I'm having this conversation is because I don't want to disrespect Josh, and I realize that when I go back and like think about the arguments we're having, by me talking about Mahomes, I don't want it to seem like I'm acting like Josh Allen isn't a generational talent who is extremely superb at the quarterback position. He's actually in an exact same situation as Peyton Manning, as Zach alluded to, because his biggest Achilles heel is that he just happens to be playing when someone else is about to be potentially the GOAT one day. And you can't control when you play, because if Josh played in a different era or a different time, maybe he wins 4 or 5 Super Bowls. But the thing is, Mahomes already has 3, and he's went to 7 straight AFC championships. And if he goes to an 8th, he'll set the record along with the Patriots for 8 straight. Stuff like that is like, you couldn't write how he's been to 5 Super Bowls in 7 years of starting. Like, how can you take that away from him? And it's one thing if you say defense. You could argue for Brady, his defense carried him those first 3 to 4 years because he wasn't scoring a lot of points. Nobody can tell me that Patrick Mahomes, even when he had bad offenses, wasn't making those crazy plays on 3rd down and whatever else to get them there and to ultimately win. And he shows up when the chips are down. That's kind of why I say it. But you're right, though, Evan. I don't want to disrespect Josh Allen, which is why I even brought it up. I didn't want to just brush it off.
Lamar, too, for that matter, but he's further away because in those playoff moments, the one reason I give Josh a nod is that it's never been Josh's fault they lost. Whereas Lamar does the same in the regular season, but he has had moments in the playoffs where it's kind of been his fault they lost, or at least he's had some bad moments. So that's why I think it's he's not